Meantime, another issue that obviously is Peter Dutton's fault is, again, an extension from the number of people coming into the country right now. Now, again, I say this because I know how intentionally and deliberately this will be misrepresented, so I have to say it every night. I legitimately don't care where you come from, what you look like, what you believe in. What I do believe is that we should have infrastructure that matches the population we have. Currently, we have hospital ramping in record numbers in every state in the country, which means there's not enough hospital beds. Yet we keep bringing in more people. We know how difficult it is to get your kid into your local school because there are too many people that are coming in for the infrastructure that's not been built. If you're a public transport person, that's not being built. If you're a driving person, that's not being built. But of course, to discuss this issue at all is some sort of dog whistle and racism. Why? Because Nikki Savva says. One of the obvious consequences of so many extra people coming into the country, the best part of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who came in last year, was that on top of everyone else who was looking for a house, they too were looking for a house. And most people do not buy a house as soon as you turn up in a country. Instead, of course, you turn around and need to rent a place. Rental lines in places like Ipswich are so long that 150 people end up looking for every one rental property. That's the list, the line that we show you going around the block for a very small unit in one of the capital cities. We've shown you the place in Bondi where they want to charge you $1,200 a week rent, and there's construction happening on the very unit block where they want to charge you $1,200. Well, today we learn what the average rent is in Australia, and it is an extraordinarily high number. The national rent has now hit $630. The pain keeps piling on for Australia's long-serving renters, asking rents rose their fastest in 17 years in the first quarter. And this wasn't under the Liberal Party. This is not under Peter Dutton. This is right now under your local state government, wall-to-wall Labor, with the exception of Tasmania. And remember, they're only being propped up by Lambie 12 months at a time. The median cost of renting a house in the combined capitals, that being, of course, the capitals of Australia, reached a record $630 a week. They're going back to the 9own platform of Domain for the information. But that is extraordinary. $630 now is basically what you can expect to rent something in Australia. Nothing fancy, nothing flash. Now, of course, the closer you get to the places where you need to work or the busier cities, the number goes way higher. But that's the reality of Australia when we have taken in too many people in 2022-23. And remember, despite all of the promises that it was going to get cut by this year, in January of this year, it was the highest number of people that have come in 9 years. That was 125,000 people. Going back to Laura Tingle and the lessons we can learn from New Zealand. Remember, I told you earlier in the week, when it was 175,000 people who came into New Zealand last year, they changed the entire system to now having one that if you come in on a work visa, you have to prove that you can actually do the job via work experience, and you'll only be able to stay for 3 years, and it gets renewed every 3 years. The family reunion system, nowhere near as generous as what happens in Australia, where the best part of 30% of everyone who came into the country last year came in not because they had the skills, but because they were the family member of the person who had the skills.